Hey folks, how you doing? We are up a little crooked, but we're up live. And got my new Hawaiian shirt on. Finishing my dinner. Hopefully your notifications worked. Mm. 15th of July, Tuesday night, virtual bar night, lessons from the Cockpit show. Welcome. I don't know if you saw the description, but we're going to talk about the KC-46 incident last week with the F-22s. This is actually the third incident with boom problems. The airplane has 6 what they call class 1 deficiencies, and 2 of them are with the remote vision system, and 1 is with the actual boom. So let's get going. All right. 5 of you are on. Can you guys, would all of you please chat to me that you can hear me and see me real quick as I take another swig. Welcome, Dylan. Wayne, welcome back. Great to see you, man. Thanks for coming back. Dylan, where are you? I'm just curious where you're located. Okay. Wayne, you also let me know where you guys live. What state? You don't have to tell me a specific city. Just tell me what state. Okay, a little admin queep, as we say in the Air Force. Admin queepage. I leave Friday for Oshkosh. We're driving out. Okay. Oh, Newfoundland. Wow. Interesting. Dylan, I have flown over Nova Scotia a lot. There's a air refueling track called AR209 up in your area. Welcome, Dylan, and thanks for being a big fan. Oklahoma. Perfect, Wayne. I went to Vance Air Force Base for pilot training. So, man, you guys have great steaks in Oklahoma, man. RDC, welcome back. Okay, perfect. 757 driver, thank you for joining us again. And appreciate you being here. Love the shirt. Yeah. So a real quick thing about this shirt before I get into the admin queep. This is a 909th shirt. Okay. As you can see, the tanker, and man, I'm backwards. Anyway, as you can see, this is a 909th air refueling because it's got ZZ on the tail. Let me get this out of the way. It's got ZZ on the tail. And I was in this unit, the 909th Air Refueling Squadron. We were called the Young Tigers after the Young Tiger Task Force on the island of Okinawa during the Vietnam War. So one of my friends said, hey, have you seen this KC-135 Hawaiian shirt that's got KC-135s that got ZZ on the tail? They're online at this place. And I went, oh, got to get one. So I've got this one. I've got a black one too. More shirts to follow. We are literally in the midst of creating the All Ranks Clothing Company, and we're going to do shirts like this. All right. We found a supplier and a manufacturer, imagine that, in the garment district of New York City, that can actually do these kinds of shirts and print these kinds of things up. Go to allranksclothing.com and you can see the first four. We have a KC-135 that's imposed over the island of Okinawa. We have a beautiful one that I love of a P-51 that was called Ain't Misbehavin', Jesse Fry's airplane from World War II, the 357th Fighter Group. We have an A-7 Warhawks shirt. And then, God, what's the fourth one? Then we got a Candy Bomber C-54 shirt too. So all of those we will I'll have here real soon. Matter of fact, my admin queepage is I leave Friday for Oshkosh. I will be at AirVenture, the Oshkosh AirVenture show, the entire week with the Candy Bomber Foundation. Our booth is in Hangar D, booth number 4109. We're kind of almost right exactly in the middle. The Berlin Airlift Historical Foundation C-54 will get there on Thursday. So I'll either be in the booth or at the airplane or just plain walking around. So if any of you are going to AirVenture this year, please come find me. All right. I'm going to be in one of those, third places, obviously, on the KC-135. That's going to be parked there too. And the C-54, when it comes in on Thursday, is actually going to be parked next to the KC-135, and I'll be at either place. I am bringing plenty of books to sign. I'm bringing the sticker packs that have the 10 stickers in them, like this one. The KC-46, which we're going to talk about tonight, and F4, F-15E, ME-109, P-51. Matter of fact, Jesse Fry's P-51. So we'll all be there, okay? Event Horizon. Good question. So, and we'll talk about that here later on, all right? And I just got to make sure that this thing's straight and level. Please, if any of you are at Oshkosh on any particular day, come find me at either Hangar D, booth 4109. After Thursday, the C-54, the Berlin Airlift Historical Foundation C-54. I am speaking on Friday with Tim Chope, who's the pilot of the C-54, Mike Cassidy, who is a retired colonel in the Air Force. We are speaking on the Berlin Airlift, the very first Cold War conflict, 1948 through 49. And given a history of Gail Halverson, the Candy Bomber, and of course, what was the Berlin Airlift? Why did we have to do it? I mean, think about this, people. Think about this. 19,000 flights in 1 month. C-47s, C-54s. The Brits had some of their, I think they're called the Hampton airlift airplanes. All these airplanes landing 3 minutes, taking off 3 minutes apart, reduced runway separation. 19,000 flights the first month it was going. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, 757 driver, powerful, okay? Because you have to remember, Stalin didn't think we'd do it. Stalin didn't think we could do it. And local PMIP, my favorite jet to fly was this one above me, KC-135. F-15 comes pretty close, though. So I'm there the 21st through the 27th. It runs Monday through Sunday, and I'm there all day, every day. And then leave, probably pack up late Sunday to drive back here to Utah, okay? All right, what I want to talk about, I put in the notes, is the boom accident last week with the KC-46. Let's give you some history first. In January of 2022, the Government Accounting Office wrote a pretty lengthy report on the 6 deficiencies in the KC 46. 3 of the 6 dealt with the air refueling boom. 2 of them were with the remote vision system. 1 of them was with the boom and its stiffness, and how fighter airplanes kind of had to goose the power in order to stay in position, which you don't want to do. There has been 3 incidences now where the KC-46 boom has either scraped metal, scraped paint, buggered up an air refueling receptacle. Haven't heard anything about any damage to the F-22. But during a refueling with an F-22, the boom had a major malfunction. And a good portion of the air refueling boom actually separated from the aircraft and dropped into the ocean. I've been on the KC-46 several times. I've asked many about, okay, what is all of this about the KC-46 boom? And of course, the boom operators have been very forthcoming about talking to me about this too. I'm not going to give names. It doesn't matter here. But first of all, the remote vision system that it has in the airplane has got a couple of problems. 2, to be exact. The first problem is when the airplane turns, certain sun angles actually wash out the cameras. Not good. The sun produces enough glare on the cameras that they literally wash out. The second problem that they've had with the camera system, the remote vision system, is depth perception. And how the cameras don't give the boom operators a really good indication of how close or how far away the receiver aircraft is. So I'm going to go back a little bit before I talk more about this. In the 2005 timeframe, I was stationed at the Joint Forces Staff College near Norfolk, Virginia. As a matter of fact, right down the street, right outside the front gate of Norfolk Navy Yard. I was teaching in the Joint Combined Warfighter School. I had just come out of the Gulf, literally from the shock and awe campaign, being the chief of the air refueling control team, came home, and within 30 days, packed up a house, moved to Virginia Beach, moved into a house, and started teaching at the Joint Combined Warfighter School, which is campaign planning at the strategic, operational, and tactical levels of war. Absolutely fun job. Loved teaching. I'd be up in front of 450 students teaching about campaign planning, Air Force stuff. I was teaching other government agencies. This is how you run an air power, air war. It was really a great job. 757 driver, come on back when you're ready. The vice presidents of both Boeing and at that time, Northrop Grumman and Airbus were good friends of mine. The Northrop Grumman VP I'd actually worked for twice at Scott Air Force Base in the headquarters, and then again when we were standing up the KC-135 Weapons School. The EADS Airbus vice president had been the vice of Air Mobility Command. Absolutely wonderful gentleman. All 3 of these guys are just wonderful people. And then the Boeing senior vice president is somebody that I've known and worked with, and was also helping us set up our weapons school. Well, the Airbus gentleman, senior VP, said, "Hey, Would you mind coming up and talking to my folks, both in Melbourne, Florida, where Northrop Grumman was, and folks here about air refueling? You've just come out of a major war. You fought and flown in 4 major wars. Can you give us kind of your spiel on air refueling? I said, yeah, sure. This was up in Roslyn, near Washington, D.C. So I created 8 PowerPoint slides and just kind of went through the history of air refueling, the very first one. And then here was operations in Afghanistan. Here was operations in Iraq during the Shock and Awe campaign. And then the last slide was Sluggo's dream tanker. If Sluggo was in charge of building the next generation air refueling platform, good to have you back, RDC. What would it look like? And one of the things that I told them is, don't ever think about taking the boom operator out of the back of the airplane. Well, we got this, wonderful remote vision system. I said, don't do it. Don't do it. I understand the technology. I understand having the boom operator up front. I get it. But it's just one more thing that can break on the airplane. By having the boom up front, watching a TV, and this remote vision system that's looking down on the airplane, how are you going to do depth perception? What's it going to be like at night? What's it going to be like when it's in direct sunlight? All those kinds of things. Whereas if you have the boom operator in the back of the airplane, all he does, reaches up, opens the window comes up, you're sitting in a nice soft chair, you're looking down at him, you've got your controls for flying the boom and extension, all that kind of stuff. Everything's simple. What do you think they went with? Both of them. Oh, we got this new technology, this remote vision system. And I said, okay, understand. But I'm telling you, okay, if I was doing this, I'd have the boom in the back. Nice, comfy chair, hand controls. I'd have 3 chairs, okay? One for an observer, one for the boom operator, primary boom operator, one for the instructor. Good evening, Michelle. And that's the way I do it, because that way you don't have any other problems mechanically, electronically with the boom. The KC 135 has had a boom operator in the back for 60 years. 60 years. And we've never had a problem with that system. Remember the old adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it? Well, I was overruled. And they put this camera system in both the Northrop Grumman Airbus airplane, and then just like 3 months later, same 8 slides, and the Boeing senior VP says, will you come up and talk to us? I said, sure. Matter of fact, their office was only about 2 blocks from where Airbus Northrop Grumman was. I literally just changed the name from Northrop Grumman EADS to Boeing. I didn't change anything on the slides. I said the exact same thing. Don't take the boom operator out of the back of the airplane. It needs to be simple. I understand the TV technology. I understand we have all this wonderful camera stuff, and yeah, I get it. Okay. It's one more thing that can break in the airplane. But if you have a boom operator in the back, sitting in a chair, instructor next to him, observer, nice soft chairs like they had in the DC-10, flying the boom from the back, doing all the stuff manually, primo. The KC-135 has had it for 60 years, and it's worked every time. I've had boom malfunctions, yes. I had a Saudi F-15 take the nozzle off of my boom in what's called a brute force disconnect. Okay. Hi, Dan. Welcome. Literally just came from that short. Yeah. I'm going to expound on that today or tonight. Okay. And those of you that get my book or have my book, you see Stallion 6-1, the Saudi F-15 C model light gray with my nozzle and a receptacle. Okay. You can't miss that big piece of metal. Anyway, Boeing did the same thing. Remote vision system is the new technology, a new way to go. All right. Got it. I just gave them my opinion. That's all I can do. I can't make a decision on their design. I can just tell them, this is what you need. This is why you need it. This is why it works every time. From 24 years of experience of being the KC-135 refueling. All right. In 4 wars. So the Airbus tanker wins and everybody's shocked. Okay. Thanks, Dan, for those good words. Because Boeing makes their refueling airplanes, the KC-135, obviously, it's like the Energizer Bunny just keeps going and going and going. Obviously, when they merged with McDonnell Douglas, the KC-10 now became a Boeing airframe. They make tankers. Both airframes were derivatives of airliners. Airbus tanker is a A330, which is an absolutely wonderful airplane. The KC-46, obviously the 767 tanker. I got to visit Melbourne, Florida during my time at the Operational Test and Evaluation Center headquarters, which was my next job after leaving Virginia. And I actually got to fly the A330 tanker simulator. And you know what, folks? This is kind of interesting, okay? And a lot of people have asked me this. Well, you flew with a Boeing yoke for 24 years. What was it like going to a side stick? And I thought, that's going to be really interesting to see how that works, okay? So full motion sim, full visual, flying out of Nellis, which I'd flown into quite a bit. Delta Eagle, thank you for joining us. Yeah, I know the new technology. Okay, if it's broke, don't fix it. That's what I just said a few minutes ago. Delta Eagle, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Anyway, back to the A330. We all know Airbus has a side stick. Okay, and coming from a yoked airplane like Boeing's KC-135, I thought, how long is it going to take me to get over this? How long is it going to take me to get used to this? Okay. And so I flew a recovery into Nellis Air Force Base, which I knew, right out of my head because I'd flown in and out of there during the weapons school years. And you know what, folks? I'll tell you something. I got over the side stick versus yoke thing in about 60 seconds. Maybe a little longer, maybe 120 seconds. The way that Airbus did that and the pilot vehicle interface and the ergonomics of the side stick was so comfortable and so nice that I thought, crap, the yoke is kind of the hard way. Okay. And I flew for 45 minutes with this senior vice president who was a retired 3-star general who I'd worked for twice. And we're just having fun flying. We're just doing approaches and doing overheads, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And it was just a wonderful airplane to fly. The cockpit displays were all set up beautifully. All the information was right there. And I think it was 4 across or 5 across. 5 multifunction displays about yay big across. Okay. Very comfortable airplane. All right. So I thought, this is pretty good. All right. Well, I briefed Boeing. And again, got the same slides. I tell them the same story I tell him the same thing about the boom. Both companies had their mind made up on the remote vision system. And I said, okay, fine. So Boeing loses and Airbus wins. Now, to give you a little bit of history, just really quick, Boeing actually lost the KC-135 competition. Did you guys know that? Yes, they did. They came in third. Lockheed came in first. Douglas came in second. And Boeing was actually fourth. But Bill Allen, the CEO of Boeing, knew that we've got these jet bombers coming out. We got to go with this. And they did. And a matter of fact, they got their Dash 80 out flying before everybody else could. Lockheed couldn't get the L-193 off paper, which is their tanker. Looks a lot like the VC-10. Had two engines in pods back on the tail. The Douglas offering was a derivative of their DC-8. Okay. And then Martin, I can't remember what Martin's is. Anyway, so Boeing came in like third or fourth. Boeing loses this competition, but fairly quickly they protest because of the way that they felt the competition was not run properly. And after a year, they win. They go, yeah, you're right. Wasn't done right. So they have a recompetition. This time, the way that the request for proposals is written, it's written basically to keep Northrop Grumman and Airbus from winning in such a way. Now, I've talked to both of these senior vice presidents that were at Airbus and at Northrop Grumman. They both told me the exact same story. That the way that the new RFP was written, they couldn't compete. And so Boeing wins. I will tell you, I had my doubts about the Boeing airplane, and those doubts have now come true because the remote vision system on the KC-46 is a two-pronged problem, a two-pronged deficiency. I shouldn't say problem. We'll call it deficiencies. That's what the GAO report calls them. These are category 1 deficiencies. Go look up what a category 1 deficiency means to the GAO. It means severe damage, loss of life, loss of limb. Think about that. And there's 6 of these deficiencies on the KC-46 as of this GAO report in January 2022. And they're still working on some of this stuff. So they do have a new remote vision system 2. Boeing's demonstrator boom has that system in it, and it's pretty cool. It's a color, very, very good colors. Okay. And yeah, Wayne went crying to Congress. You know what both of these senior vice presidents said? Their lawyers were better than ours. Wayne, that's how they said it. Okay. Michelle, you can see Bill Allen's island from where I am tonight. That's cool. He was a great, great CEO for Boeing. Anyway, remote vision system 2 is now in the works, but it's also delayed. And I was very happy when I flew the boom with a boom operator that used to be in my squadron, I know very well, who now works for Boeing and works these issues. And the slime light, the formation lights, stand about this tall above the skin of the airplane. All right. And when the airplane banked, there actually was a shadow there and you could see it. That's how good the system was. But for some reason, the design and input of that system into the airplane is once again delayed. It was supposed to start going in all the airplanes last year. And I think I'm going to have to look this up. It's been put off to 2027. Why? What's going on? All right. So that was going to solve the sunlight issues, washing out, and it was going to solve the depth perception. Okay. I refueled a C-17 and an F-15 in this boom simulator, and piece of cake. Worked really good. Looked really good too. Right. But for some reason, it's delayed. All right. Now, the boom stiffness. This is how I understand it. And if any of you have any KC-46 boom operator buddies, confirm this for me. The boom system has like an automatic air refueling brain in it, so that when it makes contact, it senses where the receiver is going to go, side, up, down, whatever. But for some reason, it's very stiff when it's in the process of doing the actual air refueling. With the boom down, the pipe extended, and it says in the GA report that the pilot's kind of have to bump the power a little bit in order to get through this bow wave and stiffness and to hold position. You don't want that. You don't want to be burning more fuel. Well, last August, they had an incident with an F-15E Strike Eagle. And what happened was they had one of these automatic boom systems go, oh, the receiver just zigged, but the boom zagged. And they had a brute force disconnect that buggered up the F-15E refueling receptacle. And for some reason, the boom flew up, hit the back of the airplane, and went back down, and it snapped the hoist cable, which brings the boom up into the stowed position. That cable snapped, so now the boom is just trailing, and then a major portion of it fell off into the ocean. When you look at the pictures of the F-15E incident last year and the boom of the F-22 incident last week, they're very similar. The hoist cable didn't snap, but the exhaust from the APU is all buggered up, and you can go out online and see these pictures. The boom broke off literally right behind the rudder vaders, and it looks like it tore it right off. I do not know what damage has been done to the F-22. Nobody's talking about that. I haven't seen any pictures of it. And as you know, the F-22 is refueling receptacle is back on the mid spine. Okay. These doors open up and you put it in there. Haven't heard anything about any damage to the F-22 yet. But these pictures show what happened to the KC-46. And there's a lot of damage. And of course, the boom is gone, about 2/3 of it, just gone. The extension pipe that goes down into the other airplane to pass the fuel snapped off. The chain that pulls it in, pushes it out, is just out there laying on, just, hanging, dangling over it. And the APU exhaust all buggered up. I mean, major airframe damage. And again, this damage looks eerily similar to last August's event with the F-15E. Now, Kay Roberts, welcome. Critters alike. We're all critters here, except for you, Michelle. Last August, the F-15E was on what we call a 1 Alpha mission. It was flying combat air patrol, loaded with live weapons, covering President Joe Biden's visit to Southern California. I think this was after the fires. So it's up there doing one of the highest priority missions, basically defending the president. And then this happens. The KC-46 goes through a bunch of checklists. The boom is hanging down, so it grinds it down when it lands at Travis Air Force Base. The F-15E tries to go into Fresno. Why Fresno? Fresno has the Fresno Air National Guard, which is an F-15C model air-to-air squadron. But again, they're carrying live missiles, and the ammo and weapons folks there know how to take care of, arming, safing the missiles when they land. But because the air refueling receptacle is on the hydraulic system, it's got hydraulic trouble and has its hook down to take a barrier at Fresno. And it actually lands, hooks the cable, and the cable snaps. And they have to go around. They try one other approach at another runway. That doesn't work out. And now they're wheezing because they don't have any gas. And fortunately, the air traffic controller, really smart dude, very, very much a hero in this situation, says Noble 42, Lemoore Naval Air Station, at this heading, 25 miles. And the F-15E, actually, Noble 42, makes it to Lemoore. And of course, they got plenty of cables there. It's a Navy base, Hornets, and they land. And the airplane pulls off. And of course, they can work the missiles, safe the missiles up in end of runway where they pull off. And what you do is you basically disarm the missile by, for the Sidewinder, it's the thing you pull out and twist, and it has a little placard on it that says armed safe, and you put it down into the green safe zone. Same thing for the AIM-120 AMRAAMs, and that's done from inside the cockpit. So the live missiles can be taken care of, and if they need to work on the airplane, of course, they can download them and take them to a weapons locker and store them if they need to. KC-46 lands at Travis Air Force Base, grinding the trailing boom down, and there's good pictures of that. And there you go. The first incident that I found was scraping the spine of an F-16 from Spangdahlem. The air refueling area was off the coast of the Netherlands and did some major damage to the F-16. So this one last week, third time, there's been a boom incident during refueling. Don't know the status of the F-22 or what's happened to it, but the KC-46 and the audio between ATC and the KC-46, you can listen to it on the web. You can find it. He says, yeah, I've got some checklists I got to do. I've got some things I got to do and everything. And they had flown from McConnell to the Virginia Capes and were just hanging out there. And they landed at Seymour Johnson. Why Seymour Johnson? Seymour Johnson is a KC-46 base. They have KC-46s there. They used to have KC-10s, but they have KC-46s there. So it was the closest KC-46 maintainer capability, all that kind of stuff that they need. And they landed there. Now, in this case, the hoist cable did not break. So, yeah, Wayne, you scratched my runway. Not only did you scratch my runway, you put gas all over it too. And but the boom's down. Okay, they didn't move the boom, and the hoist cable did not snap, so it's partially up, and it didn't drag along the cement. But I understand a lot of gas poured out of it, and Some people say there was a temporary fire. I don't know. I haven't seen that, but it was able to recover. 1/3 of the tanker fleet is supposed to be replaced by the KC-46. And yet there are 3 major deficiencies for the boom. And I want you to think about 2 things here, okay? First of all, this airplane is supposed to replace, like, the KC-10s, all gone now. Don't even get me started on that soapbox. We should have kept the KC-10s in the fleet. Fortunately, a contract air refueling group is buying them up. Omega. My good friend Ulick and a pilot that I used to fly with in KC-135s, Tom, run that company and do a fantastic job with this contracted air refueling group. Okay. Yeah, you had one job with 30 sub-step checklists. Don't you love 30 sub-step checklists? Oh, yeah, Michelle, the paperwork on this must be crazy because you have to remember they declared an emergency. Okay. And when you declare an emergency, you have to tell air traffic control and the NTSB and FAA, here's why. You got to write it all out. Right. Excuse me, folks. I got to take a swig. I've got something in my throat. I apologize to all of you. I'm an ice chewer. I love chewing ice when I get it in my mouth. All right. And that sound of the crunching probably wasn't what you wanted to hear. Sorry about that. Anyway, so there's all this paperwork you got to fill out for the emergency, but you have an airplane that's supposed to place 1/3 of your air refueling fleet that's got a boom issue. And a big one. And I thought 2 things while I was reviewing all of this. Say you're one of these fighters. Say you're an F-15E. You're in the Middle East, 1:00 in the morning, with drones and cruise missiles coming at you. You are counting on the reputation of the tanker community to be there. Boom down, on speed, on altitude, on time for your refueling. Nozzle goes in, you're refueling, and you have a major, major boom malfunction at 1:00 in the morning on a combat mission with drones and cruise missiles inbound. What do you think those pilots and WISOs or CSOs, whatever they call them now, are going to think? What are fighter guys going to think every time they pull up to a KC-46? How's the boom on this? It's just human nature, right? It's human nature, right? What's going to happen while I'm doing this? Okay. Wayne, it was during the eval that they found these problems. It was during the operational test and evaluation where they found these problems. So actually, Wayne, the system worked like it was supposed to. Second thing, an F-15E on a presidential support mission had to land because of a boom issue. That'll get your name up in lights. So, folks, the first words in my book, nobody kicks ass without tanker gas. Nobody. And now you have an air refueling fleet and a particular airplane that's got some trouble. and the date for it being fixed has been pushed out. And now they've had another boom separation event. I don't know if you guys know or saw, there was another big flush launch of tankers last week also going west. Did you see that, folks? Why was it going west? Well, the Chinese thought it would be a great time and great fun to have a major naval exercise in the Formosa Straits between Taiwan and China. So what are we going to do here, folks? I don't know. The airplane, according to this GAO report in 22, was already $1 billion over budget. The airplanes are trickling out because they're finding other issues with the airplane. And folks, we got to get this fixed, because as you saw, and the reason I brought up, this, flush launch of tankers is because tankers are always the first airplanes to go, because they have to set up the tanker bridge to move aircraft, fighters, bombers, intelligence, reconnaissance, command and control airplanes to the Pacific, to the Middle East, and that's done with tankers. This is why the KC-10 was such a great airplane, folks. Such a great airplane. And when they said we're retiring the rest of them, I went, oh, please don't do that. Because you could put 4 fighters, a lot of their equipment and their maintenance folks on the KC-10 and literally move a squadron with like 3 or 4 KC-10s into a region. Sometimes these flights were pretty long. A couple of my Wild Weasel buddies that deployed from Seymour Johnson, they flew from George Air Force Base to Seymour Johnson, North Carolina, and then flew a 15-hour deployment flight over to Bahrain. Flew through the night, over the North Atlantic, through Gibraltar, through the Mediterranean in August. And the reason I bring up August is because massive thunderstorms. Warm weather in August all throughout the region. Land in Bahrain, 120 degrees on the ramp. And we were able to do that because we had KC-10s being refueled by KC-135s all along the way, so they could literally jump from Seymour Johnson, North Carolina, all the way to Sheikh Isa in Bahrain. We're the only Air Force that can do that. But it requires tankers. And right now, we have a 60-year-old tanker, 60 or more year tanker that's flying. We just sent the 32-year-old tankers to the boneyard. Fortunately, there's some people out there that have the money, the moxie to buy these things up. Oh, by the way, here's something that's interesting about this. You have to give everybody a fair chance at buying these things. And one of the highest bidders was actually in South America, was going to tear the airplanes up, the KC-10s up, and sell them for parts. And fortunately, somebody stopped that from happening. Because you can sell off the engines, you can sell off the avionics, you can sell off hydraulic lines. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff. There's 59 of them. Is Omega going to buy all 59? I don't know. I can only hope. It's a very well-run company. Omega's doing a great job. Matria is doing a great job too. Okay, that's the other, and Omni is also. But Omega started this contract refueling thing and have done very well. Here's something I don't understand, though. I mentioned this to somebody the other day, too, and they agreed with me. Boeing's getting a lot of bad press. And, folks, there's great people working at Boeing that are trying to fix these problems. There really are. But the airplane's coming off the assembly line with issues. They're giving it to the finishing team, trying to fix it, and then send it to the fleet. Tough way to go. Boeing's getting a lot of recognition. But I want to tell you something, folks. There are Boeing programs that are not getting the recognition they should be. And I'll mention one right here. The Boeing P-8 Poseidon 737 Maritime Patrol aircraft is doing fabulously. Have you seen any negative reports on Boeing 737 P-8 Poseidon Maritime Patrol airplane? I looked. I actually went out there and looked. Didn't find one article. And that aircraft is doing incredible things with its sensors, radar, the ability to carry weapons, the ability to be refueled and stay up for long periods of time. And they're doing it in the Red Sea, in the Persian Gulf, and in the South China Sea. I don't know why Boeing isn't touting that program. And maybe they are in some of the Navy publications and everything like that. But folks, have you heard anything on any of the aviation sites or any of the news or anything like that about how good the P-8's doing? I looked. I didn't see anything. Yeah, Michelle, you got a great point there. It's not sexy enough, okay? It's not a fighter. I understand that. It's maritime patrol, historically not a sexy job, okay? Have you talked to a P-8 crew like I did at Hill Air Force Base last year? Oh my gosh, people. And the stories that they must have now with that airplane, because you have to remember, it's a maritime patrol airplane. That doesn't mean it can't strike land targets with this joint standoff missile, the JASSM. It's got 4 external hardpoints for Harpoon missiles. That means you can carry JASSM, and it's got an internal weapons bay. In a scenario in the Persian Gulf where you have a lot of Iranian fishing dhows launching out of, let's say, Bandar Abbas at the Hormuz Straits, the P-8 will be critical to finding, fixing, tracking, targeting, engaging, and assessing those ships. And it does it fabulously and carries weapons, talks to other airplanes, data links to other airplanes, data links to other ships. The whole thing, the whole system talks to each other. And the P-8, folks, is doing great things. And it was such a pleasure to talk to these P-8 folks last year at the Hill Air Force Base Air Show and hear some of their stories. All right. Yeah, Michelle, sometimes it's just boring. You know, you're up there, you know, going around and around and around and around. But sometimes when you're flying down in the South China Sea and the Chinese are saying, you know, shoo fly, don't bother me on the radio, or you will be engaged, things get dicey. Go look up intercepts of P-8 Poseidons and watch some of the video in the South China Sea with the Chinese Air Force playing cat and mouse. Some really good video, people. Yeah, Eric, the P-8 is for real. Okay. Hey, you know what? That reminds me. Hang on here. Let me take another swig here. Sorry, chewing ice again. Yeah, that P3 got bumped. Let's talk for a moment about the E7 wedge tail. The budget does not have money in it now for the Air Forces buying the 737 Airborne Early Warning and Control System airplane called the E7 wedge tail. The wedge tail is flying with the Royal Australian Air Force. Another fabulous, fabulous program. Somebody said, we're just going to buy more E2 Hawkeyes. And I'll be honest with you, folks. I read that and went, face palm. Here's why. When I was at Kadena and Kim Il-sung died, we were launching, the Wombat. I'm sure they have other names for it too. and the East, when I was at Kadena, we would launch what we called air superiority packages. That package included one E3 Sentry AWACS, 3 tankers, 14 F-15s to get 12. You always launch 2 ground spares, air spares, because you refuel first to see, okay, is anybody's air refueling system broke? And if somebody's air refueling system's broke, you go home and the air spare jumps in your place. You cannot do that with an E2 Hawkeye. Too slow, prop-driven airplane. So in my opinion, again, this is Sluggo, Knuckle Dragon Tanker Guy's opinion. The E7 is vital to particularly our air superiority mission, because we can launch with F-15EXs, F-22s, launch with our allied partners, Typhoons, Spanish Hornets, whatever, and we can all go there at the same speed. Cannot do that with an E2 Hawkeye. Now, don't get me wrong, E2 Hawkeye, extremely capable platform. Slow. That means you have to launch the E2 Hawkeyes in advance of your strike package or air superiority package. You don't want to do that. Why? Because it telegraphs your punch. But if I had 737 E7 wedge tails with those wonderful, wonderful CFM56 engines, I can launch 3 tankers, 14 F-15 EXs, and a wedge tail out of Incirlik and be over northern Iraq or western Iran in about an hour and a half, skirting along the border of Turkey and Syria out of Incirlik. So when you look at procurement of airplanes, yeah, the E2 Hawkeye is a very capable platform, but it's a prop-driven platform. And the airspeed difference between the airspeeds of the jets and the props is too large. And I don't know if you've seen it, folks. Wayne, you bring up a great point about the RC-135. Let me get to that here in just a second. There's now people in Congress who are going, because there's Air Force people that have done this, pilots, maintainers, certified smart Air Force air power guys who went, wait a minute. Yeah, the E-2 Hawkeye can do the same mission, but can it really do the same mission? Wayne, you bring up a very good point. The RC-135s were often part of the same air superiority package. And yeah, that's what she. The RC-135 was often part of the same air superiority package because of its capability at collecting the electrons. The electronic intelligence, signals intelligence, communications intelligence, and Wayne, thanks for reminding me of that. Okay, because I was remiss in not mentioning the RC-135 rivet joint as part of this too. We launched the rivet joint quite a bit earlier. It got up there about an hour and a half prior, which is what you want. All right, because while it's gathering all of this electronic intelligence, signals intelligence, communications intelligence, it's sifting through it. It's got linguists in the back of the airplane, and they're finding out, what are the enemy's intentions? What do they intend on doing here? How are they going to react to, 3 flights of 4 F-15 light grays, an east cap, a central cap, a west cap, all just miles south of your border, that can go across your border in a matter of seconds. And when you have all of that together, and you have to remember too, the E3 Sentry now has its electronic sensors on it too. And so they're feeding off of each other. The F-15s are also part of the same mix, and they're getting information from the AWACS and from the rivet joint. That's a really, really powerful combination, folks. Really powerful. And remember, has the F-15 in the United States Air Force ever lost an engagement? $102 to nothing, or is it 104? 104 enemy airplanes shot down, not one F-15 shot down in combat. They're old too. They're on the way out, but man, what I'm hearing about the F-15EX and its capabilities and all the stuff that's got in it, it's going to be a wonderful replacement. And I don't know if you guys seen that. Okay. There are F-15EXs that are at Kadena right now participating in some local exercise. All right. And those airplanes are going to come pretty fast. Boeing airplanes, once again, all right, haven't heard of any issues with that platform. And its capabilities are going to be tremendous because it's like a Strike Eagle on steroids. Look at the back of the airplane next time you see pictures of it, folks. Not the same engines. Doesn't have Pratt & Whitney engines. Has the General Electric motors. Same as you see in the F-16s. Same as you used to see in the later model F-14s. The GE F-110 motors. They give off like 34,000 pounds of thrust, meaning the F-15EX has a better than 1-to-1 thrust to weight ratio. Matter of fact, I heard somebody say that, if the airplane's clean with no bombs or anything hanging on, no tanks on it, it'll go really fast. Okay. Yeah, Wayne, you're right. Oregon is the schoolhouse for the F-15EX. They've got a couple of them up there also. Again, why do I bring up Kadena? Because when I was there, we had 3 F-15 squadrons. We had the 12th, we had the 44th Vampires, and we had the 67th Fighting Cocks. And the 12th was called the Dirty Dozen. They had a really cool hat that they wore to exercises that was not suitable for work and a little risque. across the front of it, it had the silhouette of an F-15, and it said Dirty Dozen Escort Service. I had one of those for a long time. But apparently, F-15EXs are going to be stationed at Kadena, which is a very good thing. F-15s left, they're all gone last year. And now the F-15EXs, which are going into production, are going to take up the slack. So you have an F-15E-like airplane with bigger motors, better sensors, better data link capability, better network capability, and an all-glass cockpit, which is a good thing. F-15E Strike Eagle on massive steroids. Okay. It is question and answer time. Let me look through here, see what we got. Any do we have any people that want to ask questions? Let me go back and see. What I said I was going to get back to one. What was it? Oh, Michelle, you're absolutely right. Going back here, it hurts your heart. Yeah, it hurts mine too. I flew a Boeing airplane that's 60 years old and very, very, very effective airplane. Very few maintenance problems for an airplane bought in the 1950s. I think, Wayne, I answered your question about Edwards. That's where they found the problems, operational test and evaluation. The guy that was running that, okay, Rhino, great American. And he knew that he knew, and he did the right thing. Let me just say he did the right thing. Okay. Michelle, I was queasy at the first couple of rides in pilot training. I got over it. Pills. Remember, better living through chemistry. All right. No, Michelle, that's actually not a stupid question. I understand it's pronounced Bombardier. It's the French derivative. Okay. Bombardier. Last year in Las Vegas, I made a trip down for the National Business Aviation Association convention. And at Henderson Airport, they had all the airplanes on display. So they had the Bombardier Global Express 7500, the 6500, some of the smaller ones. Oh my gosh, folks, just absolutely beautiful, beautiful airplanes. And there's a very famous entrepreneur here in Utah, down in Provo, hangars his 6500. And my son actually got to fly with him on it and said it's absolutely, absolutely gorgeous airplane. And now that I've been in them, I concur. The avionics suite on it was crazy. Had the heads-up guidance system, which I talked about last week. Had the synthetic vision. So it's got all the chart information in front of you, the terrain and everything. Had the enhanced vision system so you could see down through the weather, at the airfield. I mean, just an incredible cockpit setup. Okay. I'm just going back to make sure I have not missed any questions. Event Horizon, good question. This was a question I think I said I was going to get back to. Do you think 10th and 12th generation fighters will be able to go into orbit, etc.? You know what, Event Horizon? I think they will. And the reason I think that is because we won't have a traditional propulsion system in it. We'll have something like an electromagnetic pulse that doesn't, electromagnetic pulse engine doesn't require fuel or gas or anything like that. You just turn the battery switch on and, the thing opens its eyeballs and off you go. Which means I'm out of a job, no air refueling. Local pimp, I want to come back to your question. What was your favorite ever jet to fly? Always as a kid wanted to fly 707s, got to do it, in my Air Force career. Absolutely loved it. But and it's probably my still number one airplane, all right? I got to fly an S3 Viking once. So much fun. 3 rides in an F-15. Absolutely incredible platform. Incredible platform. The systems in that airplane and what it can do and the situational awareness that it can give its pilots is absolutely amazing, and is a no wonder why it has 104 aerial victories and has never been shot down in combat. We're locking up airliners. And it said 747, 757. It's crazy. I mean, it told you what airplane you were locking up, so far out there. It's crazy. Anyway, 757 driver, you still with us? Let me go down here. What's the deal with the Angel of Death? I heard that anytime they were deployed in battle during Vietnam, the battle was won. Kill-death ratio, cost to deploy. Hey, Steve, I think you're talking about the AC-130s or the whole AC-47, AC-119. Can you just put that in the chat and say, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Sluggo, just so I make sure. All right. Because, again, that is another really crazy platform that has had so much success. And Pappy Gunn, the same guy that helped create the B-50 the B-25 upgun nose and all that kind of stuff. He was, from what I understand, one of the lead dogs on let's put miniguns in the side of a C-47 and fly it in a circle and see what happens. Thanks, Steve. So the AC-130 gunships have just gotten better and better and better and better. Not only has it changed out the guns, still carries the 105, all right? And have I showed you guys my 105 round from an AC-130 gunship? Special Forces guy sent it to me, said, fired at and completed its mission on a ISIS target. That's all he told me. Have I showed you that? That's it. That was the soft guys. That was the soft guys patch. Okay. All right. Just so you can see how big that hole is. Here's my fist. Okay. All right. And yeah. Obviously primer's out of it. Doesn't smell like gunpowder, but that's a 105 round from an AC-130 gunship right there. Okay. See how big that thing is. And they've got a lot of these in the AC-130 gunship. Okay. All right. Let me put this back here. .30 millimeter round from an AC-130 gunship. Tell you how big the bullet is. Or no, wait a minute. That was 20 millimeter. Sorry. Let me grab the 30 millimeter real quick. Good thing you brought up AC-130s, huh? There's the, I think it's a 30. Yeah, it's a 30. All right. So the big shell, this shell, the little shell, all on one airplane. And the sensors to find bad guys at night, bad things at night. Okay. So the new one's called the Ghost Rider, and the sensor system in it is what really makes that airplane. All right. Um, there's a story about the airplane I'm going to tell you here real quick, the AC-130 gunship, that will just kind of tell you. Oh, that's why they took the 40 out, Rain? Okay, that's good to know. The sensor system in it was so good that one of the sensor operators found disturbed asphalt in a road. And he was able to figure out that that was actually an IED. And working with the J-Stars guys and gals, they were able to figure out the point of origin of the vehicle that stopped there, dug a hole, put the IED in it, drove down the highway, stopped again, dug another hole, and did a series of these holes, and then went and parked in front of some apartment on one of these main highways north of Baghdad. And of course, the sensor operator is like, "What is this, man? Why is?" Oh, and the other thing he saw was something behind the guardrails. There was a different heat signature coming off of some of the guardrails. And what they later found out was that each one of those was actually an IED incident. The one in the road was a big shell like that. I think it was a 155 round though. And the one behind the guardrail that was giving off the different heat was like a 105 shell or smaller Russian caliber. Okay. Taking the J-Stars video, they were able to find out, okay, that car stopped here, here, and here. Where did it come from? They were able to run the tape back, figure out, oh, it came from here. And this was also using space-based data too. And then when it was done, where did it go? And it went, oh, it stopped here. When they figured out it was bomb makers and IED planters, they would wait till they got to their bedtime for the night. And the special forces guys would go knock on the door and go, "You can come with us or not. We prefer not." And the incidents, particularly the loss of life and limb to IEDs, dropped way down, way down. And the guy that was the strategist for the surge is the guy who told me that story. His episode, our interview with my good friend Taz Katazinski, who was on the strategy team for the surge in 2006 through 2008, will be up tomorrow. Is my podcast for the week. And it's really fascinating, the things that he talks about and inter-service rivalry and all the things that they had to overcome in order to be able to do some of the things that they did. And hats off to General Petraeus, because he was really, really a soldier. So anyway, David Griffin, I don't know if I've flown 1419. I'll have to look. I have to go back to my logbook and take a look. Magnum, the Wild Weasel story, is one of my books down here behind me, Wayne. The George boys, John Boy Walton, who was a squadron commander of the 561st during Desert Storm, is a good friend. And partly the reason why in my book, Tanker Pilot, the very first chapter is called Drinks for Poobah's Party, and is the integrated air defense takedown of Baghdad, the opening night of Desert Storm, because I refueled the first Weasel package into Baghdad, as I mentioned last week. All right. I heard of any time they deployed battle Vietnam. I do not know what the ratio was and it cost to deploy those things, Steve. You know, folks, a lot of people ask that question. And Steve, you bring up a very good point here, okay? A lot of people have said, you know, we're shooting down these drones and these cruise missiles that costs X amount of dollars with $1 million missiles. It's not cost effective. And I always ask people that bring that up. I said, okay, so what is the cost that you put on a family, husband, wife, and 2 of their kids? How much do they cost? And not only them, but all the people that live around them, where that cruise missile or one-way suicide drone is going to land. And that causes people to kind of go, yeah, Sluggo, I think you're right. But leave it to some American ingenuity. They take a 2.75 rocket from Vietnam, maybe even, who knows, Korean War. They make it laser guided, and it's back in the inventory now as a precision kill weapon system, advanced precision kill weapon system. And now they're knocking down drones and cruise missiles with a missile that cost, I think on Wikipedia, it said $20K instead of an AIM-9X, at $1 million K, AIM-120 at maybe $2 million. But I still ask the question, I want you to put a value on the life of some family. And I'm not talking just in the Middle East. I'm talking anywhere that an adversary is employing those kinds of terror weapons. And we've seen them since World War II, right? The Doodlebug, the V-1 rocket, all these kinds of weapons that have been around since late World War II, okay? Okay, 1419 and David Griffin says his oldest jet plane flying. You know what? I'd like to find out, David, when that came off of the assembly line. You know why? I was born in 1957. Thank you, Wayne. APKWS. Have you seen some of the footage of it, Wayne? It's crazy, but it does a great job. Have you seen the picture of the F-15E that's carrying 6 pods of them? 42 precision guided rockets, 2.75 rockets. I mean, he's carrying 50 missiles. He's got the 8 AMRAAMs and Sidewinders and then 42 missiles in a pods. Holy smokes, man. How long will it take him to run out of ammunition? Oh, and then the gun. All right. Okay, folks, hour and a half. Been great to be with you. Okay. It's been great to talk about this stuff. Okay. My bottom line up front, I'm concerned about our air refueling technology and where the air refueling community is going because of a series of accidents that have happened with a new airplane right off the assembly line and an old airplane that continues to do the job that's over 60 years old. And I want you all to understand how absolutely critical the air refueling mission is to America's ability to put joint integrated fires on a target, to persistently have intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance aircraft on station monitoring, and to have continuous humanitarian operations anywhere in the world if something should happen where the Americans need to go and help. That's all done with tankers and the tanker bridge. So I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see. We'll report more on this as we go. Okay, folks. Supreme Eater, welcome back. Did you ever get a ride along and look out beside the boom operator on a 135 training mission? Supreme Eater. Not only have I seen it from the boom pod, I've seen it from the backseat of F-15 too. I've got some great pictures of me flying in the backseat of F-15s, looking up at the tankers and looking up at the airplanes as they're cycling through to get refueled. Some great stuff. Thanks, Steve. Nice hat. Like I said, I went through the Bombardier airplanes, and I asked the lady, because I have a lot of hats. I asked her, I said, "Hey, do you have a hat?" She goes, "Yeah, sure." And gave one to me. They're only giving them out to people that were buying airplanes, okay? But I somehow charmed my way into one. All right. Once again, those of you that join my Patreon All Ranks Club, one of these every month. I've got 10 of them now. I will have these sticker packs with me, all 10 of them, at Oshkosh. The deal that I'm running with Oshkosh, and then I'll also offer to all of you, is you get the book signed by me, okay? Michelle, here's yours. Haven't dropped it in the mail yet. Sorry. Been a little busy getting ready for Oshkosh, but it'll go in the mail hopefully tomorrow. Okay. So if you buy the book and you buy the sticker pack combined for $50, and if you email me, I'll send you the Venmo and the PayPal link. And I have one other one that I'll stick in there, okay, of a KC-135. $50 for a book and a sticker pack of 10 of these, okay? Here's the one we're giving out next week for the Candy Bomber Foundation at Oshkosh too, okay? What happens if you make a $5 donation to the Candy Bomber Foundation, you'll get one of these at Oshkosh. But there's 10 of these. So the combination is $50, 20 for the book, 30 for this, an extra one of a KC-135 mailed to you. And my email address, Jeffrey, how are you? Welcome. Is right there, sluggo357@gmail.com. Any of you that want that combination of the 10 stickers and the book signed by me and the extra tanker one, it's 8874, the one here above me, but it's on a backing like this that has the island of Okinawa and the ocean and everything behind it. For $50, I'll send it to you, and I'll send you the Venmo or the PayPal link. All right. That is also the deal that we're giving to people at Oshkosh when they come through. All right. These stickers turned out fabulously, folks. Get this. Our printer is so good that this KC-135 sticker is 7 inches long. And I put me in the cockpit, gray haired, headset on, boom mic. And of course, on my left shoulder, I would wear my weapon school patch. Well, guess what? On a 7-inch sticker on a pilot that's only about that tall, you can see the headset, my gray hair, the boom mic, and even the weapon school patch. I was shocked when I saw that. So, Jeffrey, good evening. F-35, C-130s, and Blackhawks. A flight of 3 F-35s make quite an entrance. Oh, yeah. You're at the All-Star game. That's pretty cool. But that's the offer I make to all of you. All right. 10 different airplanes and the book signed with an 11th sticker of a KC-135 thrown in, $50. And like I said, if you're interested, email me and I'll send you the PayPal or the Venmo link. Also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also join my All Ranks Club. A couple of you have already joined. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Those of you that join at the designated driver or the by the bar will get one of these stickers every month. All right. And we're working on 15 more to include U-2 spy plane, F-4, F-105F Ryan Raider. Do anybody know? Do any of you know what that mission was? What the Ryan Raider mission was? Hey, Kevin, how you doing? We're just getting ready to close, brother. RC-135 Cobra Ball are in the next 15. So anyway, you have Q&A sessions with me. I just had a one-on-one Zoom meeting with a recent member of my All Ranks Club. And so please come and be a part of that. Let me give you the let me put the links in here for that. Sorry, I'm looking at my screen here. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. 34th FTS. Ooh, Kevin, you know your history. Touche to you, Kevin. Yeah, Project North Scope was the Ryan Raiders. There's my Patreon link to become a member. Designated driver is $15 a month. But like I said, one-on-one with me, Q&A with just those of you that are members and me, one of these stickers every month. And then, of course, the books. The books, all of the proceeds go to the Airlift Tanker Association. I will have a lot of books with me at Oshkosh. Please, if you're at Oshkosh, come find me. I'm going to have a lot of aviation shirts on. The P-51 shirt, I'm really looking forward to wearing that. Ain't misbehaving. And hopefully the doctor who owns a P-51 in those markings, ain't misbehaving, shows up. I'd love to show him that. But anyway, Colin, welcome. Thanks, folks. Thanks for being here. Thursday night will probably be short. I'm leaving the next day again for Oshkosh. I will be in Atlanta at the Military Influencers Conference in September. In August, I'll be at Tailhook at the Grand Sierra Resort. And it looks like I may be coming to the Andrews Air Force Base show later in the summer. All right. All right, folks. Sluggo. Been great to be with you. Signing out here.